Court documents allege the children got whoopings with belts and paddles on their buttocks. In one case, a teen who misbehaved was allegedly made to eat oatmeal with vinegar as punishment. Court documents indicate there are 3 children in the household of Richard and Patricia Heights, but it's the oldest, an adopted 13-year-old, who is said to have been out of control for about 6 months and needed more help than the couple could provide. The pair did admit they did not seek help for the child in the form of therapy or medication management, and when they eventually did take the child to a mental health hospital, they outright refused to pick the child up upon discharge, fearing for the safety of other children in the house. The case also alleges neglect by cruel confinement, that the teen was forced to sleep in the family's camper in the backyard as much as a week to 10 days at a time, with no electricity, no heat, in the fall and winter. Court documents say the child told authorities it was cold some nights, but they did give me blankets. While the camper had a bathroom, the child was not allowed to use it. He said he instead had to use grocery-style bags.
What's up, everybody? How's your day going today? Hope your day's going pretty good. My day's going pretty good. Got a story for y'all today coming out of Indiana, located in LaPorte County. And shout out to everybody in LaPorte County, Indiana. Now, before I get into this story, I want to send a special shout out and also special prayers out to the great foster parents. Even if you have a child that is mentally challenged or is not mentally challenged, shout out to you and prayers go out to you. Many blessings come your way. And also, if you do have a mentally challenged child, you need to understand that that child is not like a regular child that is not mentally challenged. You need to understand that and also operate off of this child not having the same mobilities as a child that is not mentally challenged, if you understand what I'm saying. So you got to have special attention to them and also have some great understanding when you're dealing with children like this. But not in this case of this story right here. Let's get into the story. This is Patricia and Richard Heights. Now, Patricia and Richard Heights is 2 trash foster parents. You might be saying to yourself, why? Get to the point. Let us know. Get to the meat and the potatoes. I'm finna get to it right now. So, Patricia and Richard adopted a 13-year-old boy. The boy was 13 years old, or is 13 years old. And they began to see different struggles that they have with this child, and they started abusing this child. But let me read a little bit something for the news for you real quick, so we can get a better understanding of what's going on. The adoptive parents of a 13-year-old boy in Indiana have been arrested for allegedly forcing their child to stay outside the camper for up to 10 days at a time with no toilet as a form of punishment, before eventually leaving the child at a psychiatric hospital and refusing to pick him up days after he was discharged. Now, they left this young man at the psychiatric hospital after he was discharged. And they also, as you heard me read, that they left him in a camper behind their house for 10 days. Look at this picture right here. This camper does not even look like it's worth $500. I wouldn't even pay $500 for this camper right here. And the young man was inside of this camper, and it had a toilet on the inside of the camper. And they told him, do not use the toilet. And the reason that they told him to not use the toilet, because they told him to use the bathroom inside of a grocery bag. You know those Walmart grocery bags that you go get from Walmart, those little bitty bags that say thank you on it from the corner store or from the grocery store. They wanted him to urinate and use it inside of a bag. That's straight up child abuse and child endangerment from the get-go. They should have never ever have had a right to adopt a child anyway, especially a child with special needs. And it sounds like this child had special needs anyway, because they left this child at a psychiatric hospital. So they let you know from the get-go that this child needed some help. What kind of trashy parents are those? Trash number 1 and trash number 2. And they also said they did this for punishment. And One of the children in the house stated that they didn't get any whoopings or something. They asked them, "Did y'all get any whoopings or anything?" And they said, "No, we didn't." And then the young man that was mentally challenged, first he said that no, they were great people, and he also said that they was beating on him and everything else. And the other messed up thing is they had this young man inside of this camper, like I said, for 10 days. And they also punished this young man and made him eat lumpy oatmeal with vinegar in it.
A teen who misbehaved was allegedly made to eat oatmeal with vinegar as punishment.
Now, when I think about that, it just make my whole tongue ball up and make me cringe up and say, you mean to tell me that they was feeding this young man balled up, lumpy, nasty oatmeal? Oatmeal is not nasty. But they had this oatmeal all lumped up and dry with vinegar in it. And that was a statement in the report that this young 13-year-old has been acting out like this for at least 6 months. Now, so many things go through my mind when I read the different stuff in this report. Now, they had to know from the get-go, once they adopted this child, that he had a lot of mentally challenged things going on with him from the get-go. This probably didn't happen overnight. Now, it did not state what was the mentally illness that this young man had. But let's say he had autism. If the young man had autism, before they even adopted this young man, they should have researched and had some type of understanding about a child that had autism. I'm not saying that's what this child had, but they should have took some type of class and got some type of understanding about what was going on with this child. But no, they said that the other children, they didn't want him around the other children. So they took him to the psychiatric hospital. And after he was discharged, they refused to go pick him up. So instead of going to go pick him up, they just left him there. They could have picked the young man up, dropped him back off at CPS, if it was hard for them to do that. Anybody that has foster children know that if you are getting tired of this child, or this child may be acting up in some type of way that you cannot manage or control, they say, bring the child back to us. And we'll try to find this child another home or another parent that this child can go to. But it comes to my mind and help me and make me realize that everybody that you see adopt a child is not adopting a child for the right reason. You might be saying, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What I mean is they are adopting a child for a check. A lot of times, let's say somebody got 5 children. I don't know how much they're getting per child, but let's say they're getting a check for each child, $1,500 a month. You got 5 kids, that's enough cash to probably get yourself a car, pay your rent, or whatever. Because all of these foster parents don't use this money on these children. Just like some of these parents don't use all of the money from child support on this child. But it's all about a check. It's not about the child. They don't care at all. So at the end of the day, it's like, man, is it safe for a child at CPS? Is it safe for a child to be at home with an abusive parent? What is it? And they said they did this stuff to this young man, leaving him in this camper for punishment. A young man that has a mental illness. You want to try to put this child inside of a camper for 10 days? And he also fed this young man oatmeal with vinegar in it. Just think about that. You eat a bowl of oatmeal. It don't have butter and sugar on the inside of it. By the way, butter and sugar inside of oatmeal is good. But vinegar inside of oatmeal is woo. That's straight trash. Just think about this child has to be forced to eat this garbage. And also use it in a grocery bag. They want this young man to use it in a grocery bag. What type of stuff is this? Straight up abuse. 13 years old. This young man could have died in that camper. Could have died from the bacteria, and he probably could have hung himself or ran out there in the woods or fell out there, broke his neck. Because remember, the young man is mentally challenged. And they treating this young man just like this. And the young man also stated that he was being beaten. And he was saying that the other children was being beaten. But they asked the other children, have they been beaten? And the children stated, no, they have not been beaten. I understand why those other children said they have not been beaten, because they already are scared of their parents for what they're doing. Could be true, could not be true. They could have just been treating this foster child wrong and not their other children wrong. That does happen a lot. But he said they did give him a blanket, and they did give him, and they told him do not use the bathroom in the toilet. And he also stated it'd be snow on the ground. He'd be out there in that trailer, in that camper, and it'd be hot. And think about it, he on the inside of a camper in July, hot outside, no electricity, no running water. Inside of a camper. Inside that camper, just straight up suffering. And they forced the young man to work like a slave. They had him out there working for at least 8 hours. They were slaving this young man also. And then they was able to go to jail and bond out on a $15,000 bond. What type of stuff is that? What in the world is that? You mean to tell me they are able to bond out, but they was using this child like a slave? Had him out there working for 8 hours and put him inside of a camper with no electricity, no water, can't use the restroom, hot outside, snowy conditions, rain, sleet, and snow? Shame on them. They ought to be still in jail right now. But remember, everything is about that almighty dollar. It's all about that dollar. From the foster parents on to the CPS. It's all about money. Nobody cares, which there are some people that do care about these children. But majority of the time, they don't care anything about these children. If it wasn't for the money, they wouldn't even be caring about it. Go in some of these foreign countries and look how they treat their children. The only reason these children are seem like they may have some type of care is because they get money from the government. And these foster parents get money from the government. Like I just said, the CPS also get money. It's all a money grab. Everything is about a dollar. These children be going through it out here. They go through it. And I'm going to say this before I close. I had somebody in my family that has an autistic child. And they was watching the autistic child. This was a male watching an autistic child. He had two sons. And one of the sons was autistic and the other son was not autistic. To make a long story short, he was complaining, saying he could not take care of his son. He didn't want his son to stay a night with him or be with him anymore because the young men are fighting and doing stuff that young men do. And plus the other young man had autism and he was spazzing out and he couldn't understand it. Trash. And I got somebody in my family that is autistic. When I talked to them on the phone, I had to understand one time when I was talking to them that they was autistic because they was talking all over the place, telling all type of business. And I had to understand that he's autistic. That's the reason he's acting out the way he's do. That's the way he acting out the way he does. I had to understand that. I had to stop and figure that out. And I had to get some understanding. So if you have a child that is mentally challenged and you do not want to try to understand them, shame on you. Trash, trash, trash. That's what I'm going to say. And you don't deserve nothing good because this child did not ask to be brought into this world. You need to man up, you need to woman up, and take care of your responsibilities and do what you're supposed to do. Leave a comment. Like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what y'all think about this. Because this here is truly tragic. And I'm glad this young man did lose his life. He's able to live on and tell the story. No matter what is wrong with this young man, that's still a human being. A 13-year-old boy that needs some guidance, that needs some help. Because he already has been put into the system and been neglected. And he got neglected by his foster parents. How sad, how sad, how sad. Leave a comment. Have a good one. Have a blessed one. And if you see something, say something. Call the Child Abuse Hotline. Here you go. I'll let you.